Hi, and welcome to the Women in ERP podcast. I'm Abigail Ullman.
And I'm Stephanie Poor.
And today we're joined by Gemma Coupland and Ashley Colquhoun from Boomi. Hi, ladies.
Great to have you.
Hi.
So hi, Abi Steph. Thanks for having us on here today. Gemma Coupland. I work for Boomi, one of the technology partners of IFS. I've been in the IT industry for 20 years, and I'm really passionate about giving women and those from other diverse backgrounds a platform in IT, and excited to be here today. Thanks for having me.
My name's Ashley Colquhoun. Thank you very much, Abigail and Steph, for inviting us on here today. I've actually worked for Boomi for the past year. I have met Steph in this on my journey through several collaborations between Boomi and IFS, but I've actually been in technology for the past 15 years. I'm a physicist to trade, so I'm a scientist to trade. I'm an ambassador for Women in AI. I'm a massive advocate for, promoting STEM STEM careers to our future generation. And yeah, I have a reverse mentorship with Gemma. So excited to be here and talk about all things, technology and ERP.
Last week it was with International Women's Day. Yeah, we featured on ERP Today Live. How did you find it, Steph?
It was good. It was slightly terrifying to begin with, but we got there, and I think hopefully we got our message across in terms of being a big advocate for women in ERP and just trying to create a new community, really.
Yeah, I think so. I hope we didn't alienate too many men. That wasn't the intention.
Surely not.
We were waving our flags.
I think from seeing your social following, I think you had a great following from the guys, and I think they were very supportive of what you were trying to get across. So
I completely agree, and it always surprises is the wrong word, but I probably get more feedback from men than I do women, which I think is quite interesting, because I think they quite often they see that there's a kind of gap not in the market, but they recognize there's an issue that needs to be addressed, which is great.
I know, cool. I saw your post as well. Well done. And I actually was lucky enough to be invited onto Boomi's panel for International Women's Day. So I got a little platform to talk about, I guess, my experiences of the need for, diverse teams, especially when it comes to product engineering, software engineering, data, and then my big passion, which is obviously AI and machine learning. So it was really great. Thank you to the girls at Boomi who set that up, and to anybody who joined, because it was a live panel, which was quite nerve-wracking, because normally these are recorded. So there was somebody very kindly filtering questions, but yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. And similar to yourselves, we had a lot of men on there, supporting us. So just a little thank you from me to those men.
Brilliant. That's really good. Very forward thinking of Boomi actually there. So that's good. Okay, and also we attended the Every Woman in Technology Awards, and we actually met for the first time in person.
Woohoo! In this new world that we live in.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, it was really good, and obviously we were there to celebrate Abi, and you were nominated for Digital Star.
Yeah, so I was a finalist. I didn't win. There were so many amazing
just to be
people
nominated there, though, we should just give you a little clap as well, because that was amazing. And it was, I don't know, I mean, Abi and I spoke about it afterwards. It was a real inspirational evening in terms of, it made me really assess my life and what I want to achieve kind of long term, because you're just surrounded by these absolutely inspirational and kind of complete overachievers. It was really motivating. So,
I find it quite emotional as well. I think there was a lady that was sat on our table that won an award, and she was with her daughter, and she dedicated the award to her daughter, and I was like holding back the tears. It was lovely. It can
be emotional, can't it? That's one of the reasons. I actually, over the past year, have moved into a new role, and one of the reasons why I, was so excited to join my new team was because of my leader there, Elizabeth Hatt. Because when I asked her, when you're in an interview and they say, have you got any questions, I asked, what do you do in your spare time? And hearing, what Elizabeth does in her spare time around giving back to the community and those kind of social enterprises that you can involve, it was so I just was like, oh, I want to be a part of this. I want to be under her wing. So it is. And I actually felt emotional, and I was like, don't cry in an interview, actually, don't cry in an interview. But yeah, you do get, it it is emotional.
Yeah,
seeing everybody.
It's the people factor, isn't it? It's the human factor to all of this.
Yeah.
So yes, we work in tech, but actually we're women existing in this world, and it's a very difficult world to exist in at times. And yeah, so it was good. Yeah, and I've got to give a special shout out to one of the ladies that won Faces. She won the Cybersecurity Award, and I just found her an incredibly passionate woman within this industry, and she's really inspired me. She signed up to a coding course on the Code First Girls platform, and I'm going to do it now. I'm going to learn a new language.
Take my hat off to you, because that literally is a new language.
Yeah. So yeah, there we go. Right, so I'm going to let Steph lead today on this. So if you want to get started.
On, hey? So I guess we've got Gemma and Ash here for a reason. So it'd be good to kind of I guess you've touched on a few bits that would be quite good to explore. So Gemma, you kind of spoke about being a big advocate for women and diversity, and having worked kind of in the tech sector for the last 20 years. Are you able to kind of give us a bit more around kind of what you've seen, how things have changed, that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think 20 years ago when I entered the IT industry, I was the only woman in a team of 15, and the confidence that I lacked, I guess, coming into that and trying to reach this perfection of these older, more experienced guys in the industry. And what I've definitely seen over the last 20 years is how those guys that are actually supporting diversity, about how they're starting to bring their whole self to work and becoming more vulnerable. And we all know this is a common issue with women in IT, that we don't necessarily want to show our vulnerabilities in the same way, and we think that there's a huge hang up for doing so. But guys have the same challenges, and Ashley and I were just talking about this morning. We see this in the culture of Boomi quite a bit today, that guys always have got to be tough. And I think just trying to break down those barriers and stronger women bringing themselves to the table, it's kind of empowering guys as well to start becoming more vulnerable. And now we all start bringing our whole selves to work. And I think that's really, really important. And that's definitely the gear change that I have seen with the role of women in IT over the last 20 years.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's like the balancing out, isn't it? It all goes back to being authentic, right? And so, whether you're a man or a woman, it's being yourself, and like you say, bringing your full self to the office.
What do you feel are the benefits of doing that then, bringing your full self, so all your vulnerabilities are on the table as well? Why do you think that's now a benefit?
When senior people show their gaps, it enables younger, less experienced people to also go, I need help. I need support with this.
Lead by example.
No one is, absolutely, that not everyone is perfect. Now, I had a wonderful experience at our recent sales kickoff, where I was asked to be part of a panel with our new chief executive officer. So I was the day before invited to a run through. Now, I genuinely thought that these CEOs got on the stage and they just did what they did, right? Naturally, because they were perfect. Guess what? They weren't. They got up every day and they practiced and they practiced and they practiced again. And I think just showing that and getting visibility of that just made me feel, that's okay. I don't have to be perfect in every presentation. And I definitely feel through Ashley and I have started a mentoring relationship ourselves about 12 months ago. And ever so proud that she was promoted within 8 months, by the way. So massive clap.
Right, yeah, I was going to say.
Thank you.
But this started with Ashley coming to me and saying, can you help me with areas around getting a platform within the organisation? And that was absolutely something I could help her with. But then I started becoming vulnerable back to her, right? And I think that enabled her to become more open to me, so we could work together and help each other with the gaps. And, you know, to this day, you know, Ashley still is the one that drives me forward, because she's at a different point in her career and her energy just drives me forward every day. So I think when you start becoming vulnerable and bringing your whole self to work, I think people are more willing to, or are able, not willing, able to help you and support you.
Do you think there has been a shift in that way for women, I guess, because sort of traditionally in business, we almost try to assimilate a man and be very tough.
Yeah.
And do you think that's changing now? Do you think we are realizing that we can share our vulnerabilities? We can be, you know, our whole selves?
I think there is a shift, and I think probably what's driving a lot of that is, you know, women and men are finding, you know, within organisations, their little support network, you know, a little group of confidants that can help them strategize, help them meet their goals, help them negotiate and find a safe space to kind of vent their frustrations. So when you find that within a business, it then becomes, and you become accepted for your whole self, it then becomes easier to then allow that to kind of peripherate into the rest of the organisation. Once that your little safe group accepts you and your whole self, who you are, you're like, oh well, you know, they've accepted me and they didn't know me 12 months ago, so why can't I just be myself to everybody? And that little platform gives you the confidence to be you, because, you know, I have over my 15-year career been told I'm too much, I'm too loud, I'm too emotional, and I always felt insecure about that, you know. And then I started to think about, you know, somebody gave me a really good bit of advice and said, what's the opposite of those words or those descriptions? Too little, too quiet, not enough. Well, I'd far rather be too much, so just you keep being you, you know. And then, you know, that gives you the, so absolutely, I do think there has been a shift, and I think people, you know, accept that men and women are different, but actually their diversities and their differences is what creates innovation and creates, you know, a good culture. So yeah, I would say I have seen a change.
I completely agree, and I think, like you just hit the nail on the head in terms of it brings that whole culture, and it becomes an environment people want to work in, and then you naturally excel and you do better because you're in a kind of, for want of a better word, safe space.
Absolutely.
And you can just, you know, you don't have to have this kind of front of, well, I'm this person at work and I'm someone else at home. And I think from what I've experienced as well, and particularly in the last couple of years, it's massively accelerated just by just video calls. And, you know, like you say, you could be sat on a call with your CEO and suddenly their kid runs past screaming, or, do you know, and it just makes it all, it makes them
normalizes them.
Yeah, completely. And you're not so much kind of, although there's obviously naturally hierarchy in a company, people become more approachable, and yeah, it's that human element, and I think that's so critical.
So tell us more about your mentoring program then. What is this about? What have you created at Boomi?
So what we're starting to create, as we broke away from the Dow Technologies family, was a global mentoring program, which was not focused on reverse mentoring at all. And HR are very much driving that forward, and it's becoming a great success. I think just building on to the points that Ash and Steph were just making, outside of the whole women and men diversity here, something that Ash and I are really passionate about is the global organisation that we work in. You know, just being in the States recently at our sales kickoff, for me, as Ash knows, the one thing I wanted to do was go and bond with my colleagues that I work with day in, day out, that are from different cultures, because different cultures bring different vulnerabilities to work as well, right?
Yeah.
So we're really passionate from a mentoring perspective that this shouldn't be, you know, just Gemma mentoring Ashley in the UK. You know, this should be us looking at cross-functional mentorship, looking at diversity across different regions. You know, what can we achieve in being mentored across different cultures? Because I think that helps in really empowering, bringing our whole selves to work. So that was really the start of our notion, really, that we wanted to move forward with that. And it was interesting that when we were engaging with senior leaders, especially in our international organisation, about how supportive, and even in senior roles, how they felt cut off from the business sometimes and not being able to bring their whole selves to work. So they were very, I guess, encouraging in the want to bring that diversity of mentorship across not just age groups and across sex, but also, you know, across regions, which was really kind of empowering for us.
So how does it work? Do you find someone yourselves that you want to mentor? Are you put together with somebody else? Explain to us sort of how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think because I was fairly new into the business, I only came into the business last February, you know, I was advised by my manager at the time, Scott Porter, to find mentors within Boomi, you know, and find mentors at all different levels. So I just naturally reached out to Gemma. So that is me proactively as an employee going out to find mentorship within our organisation. But we also do have a mentoring program that's running by HR, where they will handpick, so they will do, you know, personality tests, so that they'll match you up with different personality types and find you a mentor within or actually internally and externally. The mentoring program works. But what we're trying to do is kind of build and not just have a traditional, you know, the young person or the new person within the Boomi business learns from the tenured person within the Boomi business. We're trying to say, no, actually, you know, the tenured person within the Boomi business can learn so much from the young person that's just came straight out of university into a graduate scheme. So we're really trying to, on top of the already existing mentor program that HR are running, the organic mentorships that happen already within Boomi, we're trying to set up a kind of the cherry on the top, the icing on the top, and have, you know, a reverse mentoring scheme with 10 executives and 10 young people from our Young Professionals ERG group. And we will actually, Abigail, in that instance, handpick, you know, we've handpicked the 10 execs, and we'll handpick the 10 young professionals, and then we will take them on a journey for 6 months. So it's going to run in our H2 year, and they'll be asked to catch up every month, and then at the end of that 6 months they'll be asked to do basically a business analysis video on what value they have added to each other. And again, we'll be posting these on our socials and promoting you know, the reverse mentorship program for the next year. And ultimately what we want is kind of that self-perpetuating or self-funneling program, where then those young professionals become execs. Well, guess what? They're not going to forget our program, so they're going to come back organically and, you know, try and mentor and give back. Absolutely. And kind of outside of that as well, you know, obviously we've recently broken away from Dell, but Dell actually have a fantastic mentorship program which is called STEM Aspire, and I'm actually part of that, and I've been mentoring an absolutely phenomenal young lady called Radina. I'll just give her a little platform here, who is doing her masters at Strathclyde University. So I think it's also important to have organic mentorships within your business, have actual dedicated mentorship programs, but also step your toe outside into the big world and see what you can do to give back to, you know, the future generations. Because I think I actually get excited when I speak to Radina, and I think, well, I know where I'm going to be in 20 years time, but where's Radina going to be? And isn't that absolutely fantastic that I'm, you know, a part of her journey, and that hopefully to the point where her mum sent me a Christmas message to say, thank you, Merry Christmas, Ashley, and thank you so much for all the energy and inspiration that you give Radina. And it's like, to me, well, that's it. I feel like I've done it. You know, I've done the role of a mentor. Obviously there's a lot more to it, but yeah, so this is just a shout out to anybody. If you've got 5 minutes to scroll Facebook, 5 minutes to scroll Instagram, you've got 5 minutes to give back to the future generation and load your knowledge to support them to break into careers that are, it's scary to take that first step into careers. So
I was going to say, I think it's such, well, you can just hear the passion in your voice anywhere, and I know we've spoken about it before, and I think it's so important to do.
The best mentorships are when both parties win. And as an 18-year-old, you've got so much to give, as much as that experienced person. So I would be encouraging any 18-year-old who's being mentored by another person to say, this is what I need help with. Be vulnerable. And also to the more experienced person to say the same thing, right? But also to respond with, this is how I can help you.
Yeah, good point.
I think it's interesting because I've just recently got into a new kind of mentoring situation where I've got a new mentor, one of the first things she said was she's really excited to what she could learn, and it was the first time I've really thought about it. And I know you ladies have you're beyond that, and you can see the benefits. But I've always traditionally kind of gone, well, a mentor, like I'm too old to be a mentee type thing, and but it's not. You're right. You should never stop, really. And it's, I guess, getting that initial. I guess from my point of view, I think that's something I missed as a young adult, and I wish I'd probably done more, kind of put myself out, because I think you do get a bit overwhelmed and kind of don't want to push, overstep the mark unless you're quote unquote arse type of stuff.
But I think as well, the only way this is going to be encouraged is that the more senior people that are out there are coming and bringing their vulnerabilities, because that enables the younger generations to open up. And personally as well, outside of work, very different to Ashley, I've been involved in mentoring with young people with the Prince's Trust in my own personal community, but also with veterans. And the veterans, I just think, is an absolutely phenomenal relationship, because I learn every meeting I go into. I learn about organizational skills. I learn about structure. I learn about governance. I learn about how to compose myself. All these skills that come from this environment that I don't naturally mix in, and that's just brought so much to me. So I would always say as well, as a young 18-year-old, go and seek mentorship groups outside of your own profession, a bit like Ashley has promoted as well today.
How do you fit it in? So this is my problem. I'm back to back all day long. How do I fit that in? Because I'd love to be a part of it. I'd love to do it. But how?
But I think the new modern world has enabled this, right? The ability to, every single week, I do an interview with a veteran, and I can fit that in an hour in my lunchtime. I've got to dictate when that happens because I am busy, but I can fit it in. And I think the more we can drive this virtual engagement. I attended a counselling session through employee assistance last week. I'm being vulnerable and telling you that, right? And I did that online, right? So we can.
It's all accessible.
We can break down barriers now.
Yeah.
I think for me that's a good point. I tend to have a meet and eat with Rudina, so it's a lunchtime, meeting, and whether it be 15 minutes or whether it be 30 minutes, I also say to her, like, make sure you eat. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're chewing down the phone. I'd rather you're fueled up, but we're able to catch up. Or myself and Gemma, if we have a busy week and we haven't caught up, we'll just say, right, we're getting up early on a Friday morning. We'll meet at 8. Although she did ask me this Friday to do it, and I said no, sorry, Gemma. But we'll just catch up at 8 and we'll have our breakfast. Do you know what I mean? Together. So you can make time. Again, if you be vulnerable and say, well, I can't do it, but I might be eating. Yeah, I can't do it, but I might be walking. I can't do it, but I might be driving. I think if you just be open and honest about your situation, then you can. And I mean, there's definitely weeks where I think, oh my goodness, how am I going to fit it in? And I do have that kind of crisis of confidence or lack of confidence in my, time management skills. But when there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, you make it work.
And it sounds like you've kind of developed you've obviously got a strong friendship out of it as well. So it's kind of, whereas again, traditionally you think mentoring, it's quite structured, you've broken down all the barriers across the board by the sounds of it, which is amazing.
Absolutely. And I've got a lot to thank Gemma for. So I'll give her a little clap here. Thank you so much for being my biggest fan. But yeah,
can I just say, last week I was having a really low day, a proper female lack of confidence. I cried, I was over emotional, and I got this wonderful bunch of flowers that's sitting on my side here from Ashley with these beautiful words that said, "Flowers do not bloom unless they are being watered. Thank you for always topping me up and being a ray of sunshine in my life last year. Love, Ash." And that for me just gave me so much drive for the rest of my day. So thank you, Ashley, for being a ray of sunshine yourself.
Thank you. And one thing that I want to say about Boomi in general, I guess, as a business, is that there's lots of gardeners, as I see. There's lots of people who are out there watering the flowers when you've had a bad day. There's a lot of people who are very tuned in to to their teams, whether that be senior management, whether that be your team members. So obviously myself and Gemma are in a very fortunate position, but it's not just us that show kindness towards each other. It's very much a part of the Boomi culture.
That's great. Great place to work. So tell us more about Boomi then. What is Boomi?
Oh, great question, Abigail. So Boomi is a cloud native integration platform, Abby. So whether you're an organization that has bespoke applications that you've built yourself, 20 years ago, whether you've got multiple databases where you're housing data, whether you've got an ERP system like, IFS, whether you've got a CRM system, whether you've got NetSuite or Sage or best of breed applications within your landscape environment, Boomi is the platform that connects all these together. So there is absolutely no point in you as a business having siloed data sitting in all these applications, because ultimately data is your gold, right? Data is the new oil. Yeah. That data needs to be all brought together into a single source of truth. And the only way you can do that is by integrating those applications. So that's a very watered down explanation of what Boomi does. We are a modular platform, so pervasive integration is the core of our platform, but we can also help you data catalog and data prep your dark data, your unknown data within your business. I think I saw a statistic the other day that was 75% of data within a business is unknown. They don't know where their data is, far less how to utilize that data to make money for them or to give business insights that will help them target the right customer or use the right marketing campaign. So ultimately, we help businesses understand their data, prep their data, integrate their applications, then master their data. And on top of that, if you want to make your data look pretty, then we can create workflows, and we've got a product called Flow that helps bring that data to life.
We start thinking around ERP and the challenge of ERP. ERP is the heart of the business, and it's that stability to the business and the center of the business. Trying to get a single version of truth into your ERP when organizations are adopting best of breed software as a service type apps, but also have got a lot of these archaic mainframe and legacy applications as well. To make the ERP system the heart of the business, or that composable ERP, as Gartner like to refer to, is being able to adopt a lot of this modern, being able to connect it in with the legacy, in order to get that single version of truth within your ERP. And I think that's crucial. And I also think as well, when customers are starting to move to more of a best of breed model, the biggest challenges they've got is visibility of their processes across different businesses. So as Ashley was saying around our workflow capability, being able to smoothly move data across different application sources, but present it up into the central ERP is crucial. And as we said, this legacy problem isn't going away. I mean, Ashley and I had a big conversation around the medium business market the other day, where we found that 72% of all AS400s in Europe sit within the mid-market space. Now, how can we help these organizations move into a high volume, high growth model if we can't help them, adopt more modern applications by connecting into them, right? So I think that's the challenge we're fundamentally trying to resolve. And I think the partnership that we've now got, Steph, I'm hoping you find with IFS is dead exciting, right? Because we can help you accelerate some of these more modern ERP
absolutely
strategies.
And I see it across the board with all my customers, and I'm sure other ERP vendors would be in the same position. So it's like you say, it's bringing the old with meeting the old with the new, and just unlocking the value that all these people, all these clients are kind of sat on. They don't realize how much data is sat there being unused, and I think it's almost criminal that how much more efficient could their businesses be if they just had everything coming into one place. And that, like you said, there's so many different aspects of Boomi which can help, and I've certainly witnessed it with I've worked with Ashley obviously before, and some of the other guys at Boomi, and I've seen it firsthand with a lot of my customers where, gone are the days of building these bespoke kind of old-fashioned integrations that are always the single point of failure when you come to an update or an upgrade, and it just doesn't work with an evergreen type model. So it's a complete game changer, and every customer I introduce, generally goes on to either purchase or it's in conversations or whatever that they're doing, it's always a game changer.
I think the other benefit of Boomi is the ability to connect data at speed as well. Being able to take out the developers. We're not anti-developers. We just think developers are an expensive resource, and you should be spending their time driving innovation on the front end of the business. But if developers are going to be responsible for the connectivity of data, let's give them an efficient platform that's low code, that enables them to focus on the parts of the business that makes the business money. And I think that's really crucial. We're all about efficiency, making back office productive, as well as the consumers of the data productive by, as Ashley was saying, around our workflow capability of how you access data and doing that in an efficient way.
And I think the one thing I just want to hone in on what Gemma said there is that we're a platform. So what I've seen a lot of businesses do, which I understand, but they're maybe scaling and growing very quickly. So they're in a state of panic. They're like, oh my goodness, we've got an integration problem that we need to fix now. So they might go out and they might choose a very simple and a very cheap solution for their integration problem that is here and now. But what they don't realise is their business is scaling and growing. And by 3 months' time, that cheap solution is actually not fit for purpose, because that platform doesn't have the technical depth. Ours is a true integration platform, and we can help businesses as they scale and grow on that full journey, not just for the first 3 months. And then also, if they then have a need to master their data, catalogue and prep their data, or they're working with trading partners from an EDI perspective, you've got a one-stop shop for all your integrations, rather than having to have an integration platform, an EDI platform, a master data management tool, an a standalone ERP that doesn't talk to anything. You really want to have the best of breed ERPs like what IFS are offering, and then use the best of breed integration tools to connect everything together. So we're a platform. We're not just a band-aid for an integration problem now.
One of the biggest challenges as organisations grow when they're trying to get that centralised view of data in their ERP is data duplication, right? There are so many products in the market that address data connectivity in a low-code way, right? And we know that. And I think Ashley's point about the platform is really, really crucial, because I think one of the best parts of our platform is our ability to govern data with our hub capability. Data duplication, if we've got Steph Poor across 10 different databases, if we're just going to connect that data, we're going to get 10 versions of Steph, right? Which I'm sure we're all blessed to have. But
sounds terrifying.
We're not getting that single view of everything that Steph's interested in. So how do we know how to engage with her? So being able to govern that data and pull that into a golden record, so we get one version of Steph, but we have all of her profiles across multiple applications into one profile is really important to what we're trying to achieve here.
So in terms of ERP compatibility then, are you compatible with all the big vendors? Are you adding to your catalogue ongoing, or where are we at the moment?
Absolutely. So we are agnostic. Where I feel we tend to drive enhanced partnerships with the likes of IFS is because we see a synergy in gaps and obviously in both parties' portfolio. But yeah, absolutely, we are totally agnostic to any platform. We can connect together the most modern, the most legacy, and the most customized. And also, I think one of the areas that Ashley was just touching on as well, this isn't just about traditional application connectivity. We can connect into edge data as well. So we can start to really drive those sort of AI, IoT type conversations. I think to your point, Abi, I think it's interesting to see where Boomi will go next around where it invests. I think we're really trying to bottom down on the core platform, but who knows if we have, an AI capability coming in, or some of those really exciting partnerships that we have out in the marketplace today that we may, potentially look to acquire in the future, which I think would be really interesting.
And are there products out there that have been built on the Boomi platform?
So I think there's a lot of products that are engineered with the Boomi platform. If I work across the Alliance network, so if I could just call out one or two of those partners, and we work with a partner called Open Legacy, who have engineered with us connectors to enable us to connect into mainframes and AS400s, right? So really helping us with that legacy connectivity. We also work with partnerships such as a company called Solace, who are really helping us with those high volume transactions, the high complex cloud environments where you've got multiple clouds trying to engage together and you need more of an event mesh in order to connect them together. So I think partnerships are really, really crucial. But I think where Boomi is really trying to bottom down is focusing on what's core to our platform, which is that discovery of data, that connectivity of data, the mastering of data, and then the automation of data.
And is Boomi an OPEX or a CAPEX purchase? Is it something that can be spread over a long time, or?
It's a subscription, so like any other software vendor, there'll be an annual cost for your subscription and for your licensing. You also can utilize our professional services from a discover, architecture and build point, or you can use your internal team if you've got a large IT team to build out the integrations, or you can utilize one of our premium partners. We invest in our platform, like this, applications or software that you buy that's just a one-stop cost. Well, how is their platform going to get any better if it's just a one fee, I feel like I'm losing my words here, just like a one-off fee, and then there's no other recurring revenue for the business? Well, how does that work when you're investing in a cloud platform and you're becoming best of breed, and you're wanting to be I think would be if we it'll be the 9th year in a row we'll be leading integration platform on Gartner's Magic Quadrant. We wouldn't be in that. We wouldn't be in that position if we didn't invest year on year in our platform. So therefore, it's the same. I don't, I take out a 3-year contract for my phone. I don't just pay 1 year and then forget about it. O2 need to invest in their service. So hence why it's commercially set up that way.
And I think as well, because we're an OPEX model, it enables customers to scale up and scale down based on their business requirements as well. So it helps with that business agility. And all the different components of the platform that Ashley spoke about, can be scaled up and scaled down on business demand. So it really gives flexibility around organizations when they're trying to scale or when they're trying to drive forward digital transformation projects.
And how long do you tend to, how long does it take to see a return on that investment usually?
I mean, to be honest, you'll see a return on the investment pretty much straight away. So, a typical integration might take, take 15 developers 6 months. And on the Boomi platform, it could take 2 developers 4 weeks.
Wow.
So there's your return on investment, from the get-go, because you're not having to enable, 40 devs to go and do this bespoke point-to-point integration. You can just get 2 of them to focus and own the Boomi platform, and then that we can do complex integrations. I think the longest I've seen it take is about 6 weeks. So
that's exactly what I've seen on the front line. It just from my customers, traditionally where they've done an upgrade, it could be weeks and weeks of development time. It literally is days,
turnkey
in terms of, and it, no one's ever regretted it that I've spoken to, for sure. It's always been really positive, and they've just added more connectors each time. So
we've just had our total economic impact report by Forrester redone, and I think it came back with some really interesting stats around exactly that. 2 years ago, customers were getting a 300% return on investment within 6 months. That's increased to 407%. So it just shows the efficiency that we're building into the platform to help customers really realize that investment potential and that return very quickly.
And I think the other important thing to note about the Boomi platform is all the training is for free, girls. Like, when do you ever hear that? Free training. You can get all the way up to EA, so Enterprise Architect, a fully certified Enterprise Architect on the Boomi platform, free of charge. Yes, we do sell and offer, training solutions, but actually you can do this self-paced in your own time and fully certify yourself on our platform. And I think that's something that's quite a USP,
yes.
A unique selling point, because, when do you get anything for free apart from, some YouTube tutorials showing you how to curl your hair for free? Other than that, there's not much in the tech world that is free.
And is that for users or partners or both?
for anybody that wants to go on and get their hands dirty with the Boomi platform, Abi. So it's anybody. So partners can absolutely use the link to the training material and go through the coursework. Myself, as a employee of Boomi, have went through and got certified up until a certain point. Obviously, our ISE team and our technical team, that's part of their training. They have to go through it. The IFS team, as I'm sure we've sent over the links to the training for them as well, they can have a little bit of a play around with it. So absolutely. And it's interesting because you get customers who kind of do all different things. You'll send the training links to customers and some of them won't read any of it. And then you'll do a second discovery call and you've got, your developer being like, Ash, I'm nearly certified up to solution architect here. So it's it's a great community.
Yeah, it sounds it. And I guess you're learning transferable skills as well for free, which is amazing.
I was going to add to that, actually. I'm very excited to be working with IFS on building out a centre of excellence on Boomi, and really looking at how we can help build blueprints to support the IFS solutions around data connectivity as well. So that's a really exciting around training, around how we are getting the IFS team up to speed from an architectural standpoint.
From my point of view, it's been an amazing conversation. I mean, personally, I've learned a lot just on all dynamics of it. So, yeah, thank you so much for coming, ladies.
Yes. Thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. And yeah, really excited to see what this year brings for all of us professionally and personally. I'm sure it's going to be a great one.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully we can have you back later on in the year, perhaps, and we'll see where we're at then.
Good.
Absolutely.
Right, I'll let you all go. Thank you very much for joining us, girls, and we'll speak soon.